A place like this one on the rocky desert is a true oasis, with a depression filled with rainwater from the previous wet season, attracting animals from every direction. Just like this trio of equilibrators, a group made of 1 alpha male and 2 females. Seems like this little oasis will be perfect for this night, safe and away from most of the night predators. What they don't know, however, is that this place is already taken and is fiercely guarded by its owners. Raptors instinctively flee, not willing to risk any further injuries. Perhaps they could handle 1, but facing 2 hatzegopteryx is definitely too big of a risk. Their beaks could easily pierce the skull of raptors, and moreover, these reptiles have an advantage at night. Meet Vulcan and Rioli, a pair of hatzegopteryx formed several months ago during the wet season. They've established their territory around this water body and oasis a few miles away from here. Hatzegopteryx mate for life, and they're observed performing various, sometimes extraordinary, rituals, and each pair has their own way to do this. Vulcan and Rioli spend at least an hour together every night, gliding through the nightly starry sky. At the border of worlds, where the dry, rocky desert meets the open ocean, an oasis has formed, attracting countless species of dinosaurs, from those merely migrating to those permanently living in the desert. Among such creatures are Unanosaurus, herbivores living in nomadic groups that can number up to 30 individuals of various genders and ages. This melanistic female hatzegopteryx guards the body of a dead male of her species, who lost the fight for survival yesterday, but we don't know the reasons for his death. However, the scent of the decomposing body quickly draws the attention of another predator. Rioli appears in the oasis and immediately challenges the unfamiliar female, attempting to claim her prey. Both females are unwilling to yield, yet also hesitant to risk unnecessary injuries. After a brief moment, the melanistic female backs down and flies off in her own direction, leaving the oasis. Now, Rioli can calmly consume what remains of the dead male. The dry season is approaching rapidly, and she and Vulcan will need every available reserve of energy she can find. It's dry season, and nearly every possible big animal has left the rocky desert, and those who remain are unlucky, left behind herdmates or loners. However, someone is closely watching their every move. That's a baby hatzegopteryx, and it's not alone. It's accompanied by many siblings and Rioli herself. Usually, these reptiles lay and raise their young during the wet season, when food and water are plentiful. However, Rioli laid her eggs with a significant delay, and unfortunately, we don't know why. From these eggs hatched 3 males and 1 female, which we named Ash, Basalt, Andes, and Pearl. During the day, hatzegopteryx keep a distance from their nests to avoid drawing attention to them, flying overhead as they keep their nests within their line of sight, as they take turns monitoring the nest or patrolling their territory, sometimes taking breaks to feed their young. Vulcan returns to them with an empty beak, so now it's Rioli's turn to try her luck in hunting. The chicks grow hungry and demand food louder and louder. Parents do not prioritize any chick over the other. They simply feed whoever gets the food and leave disputes to be settled between chicks, unless they're too rough. Chicks fully rely on parental care, being extremely fragile during the first month of life. Like modern birds, these young ones are flightless after hatching and need time for their wing muscles and bones to develop properly. Sadly, after just 1 week, they lost their first baby. Adolescent Quetzalcoatlus took advantage of the absence of both parents during the day, evaded their patrol, and killed one of their young, Pearl. Hatzegopteryx form strong bonds with their young until they can fend for themselves, often mourning the loss of each chick for a long period of time. In the chaos, 2 chicks fell into lower rocky shelves, and they need help to get back. Rioli and Vulcan decide to move those who survived closer to water with dense but already dried bushes, where their offspring can hide again. Day after day and night into night passes, and fortunately, Vulcan and Rioli have managed to keep their sons alive. Today, Mom gives them a short lesson about personal hygiene. It turns out that hatzegopteryx are very clean creatures, never missing an opportunity to wash off the desert dust or get rid of a few parasites from sensitive areas. Looks like Ash is trying to copy his mom. Clumsily, he falls into the water. Luckily for him, he has hollow bones and a light body, which makes him easily float on the surface. Meanwhile, Andes dangerously approaches the edge of the cliff, where he is not only clearly visible, but also at risk of falling very easily. Luckily, Mom is vigilant, quickly grabbing him in her beak and moving him closer to the water. Andes is definitely not happy with what his mom did. Curiosity and instinct slowly push him forward into various situations like this. The trio of siblings spends most of the day in hiding, but whenever the opportunity arises, they slowly train their wing muscles. Like here, basalt, jumping onto rocky ledges and climbing high, they strengthen their wings and acclimate to the varying heights in different locations. They don't think too much about their safety. They simply do what their instinct quietly suggests. Another thing young males practice is striking various objects with their thick, strong beaks. The soft edge of the water body seems to be the best place, as it cushions the impacts and prevents injuries from, for example, bad head positioning. Ash tests his strength against the water surface, perhaps a little annoyed that he couldn't sit at the bottom like his mom. Sometimes, even during the dry season, you can encounter real mysteries in the desert. In the area where our hatzegopteryx nest is located, a group of acrocanthosaurus has appeared. These predators typically lead a solitary lifestyle on Great Green Plains, occasionally forming small gangs to hunt larger sauropods. They can also travel great distances in search of food and water. Perhaps these individuals are on the trail of sauropods and are resting by a small, almost empty water hole. The dry season can force animals to act in truly extraordinary ways. If any of these apex predators were to track down chicks, hatzegopteryx wouldn't stand a chance against a single acrocanthosaurus in a confrontation. Vulcan and Rioli must wait until the predators leave this area. Another day, another round of patrols and challenges. Rioli and Vulcan, as usual, leave their sons alone to stay hidden and wait for their return. Hatzegopteryx have incredibly sharp vision, adapted for both nocturnal and diurnal lifestyles. They can spot prey from distances of several hundred meters, and some even believe they can do so from several kilometers away under perfect conditions. This allows these creatures to hunt at almost any time of day, although they are most active after sunset and before dawn. The smallest predator you can encounter in the rocky deserts is the hatzegopteryx. They typically live in large family groups, but there are individuals, like this female, who have not yet found their pack. The female has been observing this nest for quite some time, waiting for the right moment to strike. She is very hungry, and if she doesn't quickly catch something larger, she will die from starvation. Hunger drives her into dangerous areas like the hatzegopteryx nest, but if she remains hidden a little longer, the moment to strike will come sooner than expected. In a split second, Basalt fell victim to the female raptor. He didn't stand a chance against her. The distress calls of Ash and Andes can be heard everywhere. They cry out for their parents' help. Rioli arrives as quickly as she can and drives away the persistent female. The pair lost another chick just moments before it was supposed to learn how to fly and finally become much more independent. Rioli decides to consume the remnants of her son's body to avoid attracting more predators. They know they can't stay here any longer. As inexperienced parents, they may have made a mistake in choosing the nest site. They can only hope that in the next breeding season, they will find a better place to hide their offspring. Rioli behaves a bit strangely, returning to her sons with the captured prey, but instead of placing it as usual in front of their beaks, she lands lower and places the catch there. she's clearly encouraging them to try reaching the food on their own. Ash and Andy seem to not fully understand what's going on. Vulcan tries to encourage them to jump, but it's only when Rioli bluntly demonstrates to them what to do. Both, almost at the same time, jump to follow their parents. First attempts at flying rarely end with grace and success, but they still deserve a reward for trying. From now on, the parents will guide Ash and Andy's in flying lessons, and will care for them less and less with each day that passes. They still have a lot of learning ahead of them, but as soon as they feel more confident in the air, their chances of surviving to adulthood will significantly increase. The parents will still defend them against any possible threat, but gradually they will limit the provision of food to enable the young males to become fully independent. As Ash and Andy's approach adolescence, their biological clocks shift to a mode similar to that of their adult counterparts. Young hatzegopteryx are mainly diurnal creatures, so they usually sleep at night. However, as they near adulthood, their sleeping periods become shorter and turn into several-minute naps, allowing them to be active at various times of the day. One night, a foreign male who was seeking his own place to live appeared on the territory of our pair. He ignored the markings left by both Vulcan and Rioli, and is now flying straight towards Vulcan. The father notices the intruder from afar, and tries to deter him by spreading his wings wide and screaming loudly. Whether the blue male is here to hunt or to take over the territory, in either situation, the chicks are in the line of conflict. The intruder ignores Vulcan's warning signal and closes in. Displaying strength is the main way to resolve any challenge, as hatzegopteryx prefer to avoid physical contact with intruders. However, the intruding male doesn't back down, attempting to force Vulcan to flee. But the situation quickly turns against him. Rioli flies to aid her partner, chasing the intruder, who, upon seeing her, retreats immediately. he stands no chance in a confrontation with the pair of hatzegopteryx. Rioli returns to her partner and sons. Everyone's safe once again. And a little bump between Andy's and his mom. At every opportunity, the parents teach their sons where to find food and how to hunt, showing them where to find water and carefully observing their struggles. Both males begin to shed their juvenile plumage, which is replaced by the beautiful colors of the adult males. Ash's crest already shows a noticeable blue hue. He observes his mother's actions very carefully, learning the art of survival by imitating her every move. This seems like a good place to dig in. Ash can clearly sense something in this burrow. He's quickly learned that such places are worth checking. You never know if there's something inside worth hunting. This time, it's a type of lizard, Palaeosiniwa, that scurries away in a panic, but Ash is faster, and with one accurate beak strike, he brings down the small reptile. Several months have passed, and the hatzegopteryx family has managed to survive the dry season and is now on the brink of the wet season. The water bodies have filled up with rainwater, and lush vegetation is starting to bloom around, attracting more and more animals. Rioli notices a trio of raptors that have hunted down a large herbivore. She lands nearby, assesses the situation, but decides to fly away and leave the predators alone. After all, she knows perfectly well that at this time of year, the area is full of young, lost, or abandoned creatures. Ash and Andes are now almost fully independent from their parents, but they remain on their territory to benefit from protection against predators for as long as possible. The brothers are exploring the vast world that lies before them, now that they feel very comfortable in the air. In the middle of the day, they visit an oasis which already has guests, a group of concavenator. These nomadic predators, traveling to the north, have stopped here to gather strength for the next part of their journey. The presence of two flying brothers above their heads doesn't sit well with one of the females, who can do nothing but scream, make loud hisses, and make warning snaps of her jaws. The brothers seem to be amused by the situation, feeling very much invincible in the air where terrestrial creatures cannot reach them. However, concavenators cannot be underestimated. While they may not be large, they work in well-organized groups like raptors, capable of delivering powerful kicks and deep, bleeding wounds. Ash and Andes quickly grow bored and leave this gang alone. Vulcan and Rioli take advantage of this moment of peace from their sons and devote themselves to grooming each other. This behavior among hatzegopteryx is common, helping to not only get rid of dirt, but also strengthen the bond and trust between mates. It seems that they have completely lost interest in their offspring. Instinctively, they feel that they have played their role in raising their sons. Not seeing them all day is an obvious sign for Rioli and Vulcan that Ash and Andes are now fully independent and have left the family territory. Ash and Andy set out on their own separate paths as temporary loners. When fully grown and mature, they will have to find their own territory and mates, and pass on the legacy of the heaviest flyers that ever soared through our prehistoric sky.